Okay, hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Law Entrance YouTube channel. We are back with another live Hindu and Indian Express analysis. Today is 9th of August, and I'm your host, Govind Singh, your faculty for GK, Logical Reasoning, and English. How many of you are here with me today? Quickly give me a response in the chat box, and then we shall start. Quickly share the link of our class in the groups as well. All right. Who all are here? Mukti is here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Divyansh. Let's wait for more people to join in. Parvez here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dhriti. Hi, Ridhi. Hi, Mishika. Good afternoon. Hi, Anve. Hi, Just Singh. Hi, Jasmeet. Hi, Mishika. Vinesh Fogart's appeal hearing is at 5:30. Yes. Under which court? Which court is hearing the appeal? CAS. Absolutely. Yes, Neeraj Chopra won the silver medal. We'll discuss that in today's class. Yes. Court of Arbitration for Sports. All right, we have 15 people with us. Let's wait for one more minute. Yes, Court of Arbitration on Sports is the correct answer. Good afternoon, Ridhi. Neeraj Chopra won the silver medal. Who won the gold medal? Yes, hockey team has won the bronze medal, defeating Spain. We'll discuss that in the class as well. Good afternoon, Aditya. Arshad Nadeem from Pakistan. Yes, correct answer. Hi Su, hi Diktakshi. Pakistan thrower. Yes. What thrower? Javelin thrower. पूरा बोलो भाई. ऐसे गलत मीनिंग इम्प्लाई हो जाता है. Nadeem Arshad or Arshad Nadeem from Pakistan is the correct answer. Absolutely. चलो ठीक है. Let's start today's class. If my presentation is visible, if I am clearly audible and visible, quickly give me a yes in the chat box. Yes in the chat box, please. जल्दी 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 जल्दी. यार तन्वी सारा कुछ आप बता दोगे तो मैं क्या बताऊंगा. Yes, 92.97 was his throw, which is the Olympic best record. Everyone is ready. Okay, all good. Perfect. मॉक में 73 आया, गुड और बैड. Again, this is something which cannot be determined just based on the score. You'd have to look at the difficulty level of the mock. A good metric to look at would be your rank or your percentile. Sue is saying very bad. So demotivate मत करो भाई लोगों को. चलो ठीक है. Let's start today's class, guys. Today is 9th of August, and we're back with another Hindu analysis. The topics for discussion for today is India at Olympics. We'll discuss the updates, Neeraj Chopra and the hockey team. Quick discussion on that. Then there's news on the monetary policy and the repo rate. We'll discuss that. There is an editorial article in the Hindu newspaper regarding just transition litigation. We'll discuss that. And then we have frontline headline news of interim government being formed in Bangladesh. So we'll discuss that as well. And then lastly, vocabulary. So that's the agenda for the day. Let's start the class. Okay, so the first topic is India at Olympics. Arshad's 92.97 dethrones Neeraj. So Neeraj Chopra made the legal throw of 89.45 in his second throw, which got him the silver medal. And Arshad Nadeem with 92.97 won the gold medal. There was another throw which he made, which was also beyond 90. Can you tell me how far was the second throw by Arshad Nadeem, which also crossed 90? Can we go through today's newspaper? Yes, we can. Mishika is saying आज नो अरमान अरमान को मिस कर रहे हैं लोग. Hi Satviki, good afternoon. Some were fouls, yes. 92 something, 90 something, something something से कैसे काम चलेगा? It was 91.79. ठीक है, 91.79. तो इसका उल्टा कर दो, 97 का उल्टा 79 और इससे एक कम कर दो 91.79. This is how you can remember it. Although I don't think ये पूछा जाएगा, but still it's good to know. So this guy Arshad Nadeem is the first Pakistani athlete to win a track and field gold medal. इससे पहले पाकिस्तान से किसी ने track and field में gold medal नहीं जीता है. And before that, who was the first Asian to win the gold medal in track and field? It was Neeraj Chopra from India in the previous Tokyo Olympics. And now he has won a silver medal. So he's also become the only track and field athlete from India to win consecutive medals, right? Which includes at least one gold medal. Now, when you talk of the hockey team has won a bronze medal, and we have defeated Spain by a margin of 2-1. Like 2-1 was the score at which we defeated Spain to win the bronze medal. On the other hand, in the finals, Netherlands has defeated which country to win the gold medal? Which country won the silver medal in hockey? Germany. Yes, correct. जर्मनी जर्मनी जिसने इंडिया को हराया था. ठीक है, चलो. So Germany won the silver, Netherlands won the gold medal, and India won the bronze medal, defeating Spain by 2-1. Who scored both the goals for India? Who scored the goals for India in the bronze medal match? Yes, Harmanpreet Singh is the right answer. Harmanpreet Singh, who is also the captain of the Indian hockey team as of now, also popularly called as what? What is his new nickname these days? Trending? Any ideas? Any guesses? Anyone who watched the live stream? Okay, never mind. It was Sarpanch Saab. Anyway, that's not gonna be asked. That's just trivia. So he's also called Sarpanch Saab. Sarpanch is essentially the head of a village. So yeah. Anyway, what was the name of the striker from the other team, Spain, who scored a single goal? What was the name of that guy? Who scored the only goal from the team of Spain in the bronze medal match? This is the name of the guy, Mark Miralles, who scored the only goal for Spain. Right. Next is regarding Vinesh Fogart. So Vinesh Fogart has appealed, and the matter has went to CAS, which is the Court of Arbitration for Sports. And the appeal hearing is today in the evening around 5:30. And let's see what comes out. If she is successful in her appeal, then she might get the silver medal. Gold, though it's not possible, but she might get the silver medal. Let's keep fingers crossed. Let's pray that she gets at least the silver medal for the effort. Also, Neeraj Chopra threw 89.45. That is also a figure you need to remember to win the silver medal, 89.45 meters. And that was his season best performance in this Olympics. Okay. Who was the first individual person to win a individual gold medal for India? Who was the first individual gold for India in the Olympics? Yes, Abhinav Bindra in shooting. In which year? Which year was that? Not Arnav Bindra, Diptakshi. It was Abhinav Bindra. 2008 Beijing Olympics, absolutely correct. Should we remember the previous medals won by the hockey team? I think we did that when we did the Olympics quiz. I told you a few facts. बस वही वाले आपको remember करने, याद रखने. But yes, it's good to remember some context. Yes, we discussed that. Arshad Nadeem threw 92.97, which was his personal best and also the best ever in Olympics. Okay. Chalo, I think that's enough information with regards to Olympics. Also, the Indian hockey team goalkeeper has retired. What is his name? He has announced his retirement with this last match. Not BR Srijesh, it's PR Srijesh. PR Srijesh, yes, correct. Yes, full respect. Big contribution in the victory. Okay, let's move on to the next topic of the day. This topic is important from an economics point of view and also a current affairs point of view. RBI holds repo rate at 6.5% for the ninth time. So RBI ने repo rate जो है ना बढ़ाया है ना कम किया है. It has held the repo rate at 6.5%. What is the repo rate, guys? Repo rate क्या होता है? What is repo rate? Yashaswini is saying, can we have an Olympics exclusive class like history, present, everything that can be asked in CLAT, जिसमें सब कुछ cover हो? Absolutely, I'm planning that. Let Olympics get over. I think 11th is the last date when we have events, and then we'll have a roundup of Olympics, an exclusive class for that. Rate at which it lends. It who is it? Rate at which RBI lends money to banks. Absolutely correct. Interest on loan given by RBI to other banks. Absolutely. Rate at which RBI lends loans to commercial banks. Okay. Correct. Jaswini Arman is saying Salixa took a class, but I don't remember well. कोई नहीं refresher करा देंगे आपका एक और special class. Yes, absolutely correct. And reverse repo rate is the rate at which it takes loans from commercial bank. Absolutely. So, what is the impact of the repo rate on inflation? How are repo rate and inflation correlated? Let's discuss that a bit. Anji, if repo rate increases, then banks have less money, so less loans, so less liquidity, so less inflation. Yes, fair enough. That is the right explanation. Repo rate controls liquidity in the market to control money supply in the economy. If it's higher, lesser liquidity, and if it's lower, more liquidity. Good afternoon, Raj Nandini. Reverse repo rate is the opposite, the rate at which, yes, we discussed that. Correct. So that's good that you guys know these basic concepts. Anyone who does not understand how repo rate and reverse repo rate and CRR, SLR functions, give me a yes in the chat box. Yes or no in the chat box. If you know these terms, then give me a yes in the chat box. If you do not understand these terms, give me a no in the chat box. If there are a considerable number of people, I'll quickly give an overview of how these things work. The question is, do you understand these terms, these economic terms, and their implication on inflation? Yeah, there are many of you who are saying no. The more you know, don't mind an overview. CRR is current reserve ratio. It's not current reserve ratio, it's called cash reserve ratio, man. The money that banks must hold with RBI. Correct. तो देखो, when we talk of inflation, ठीक है, we will discuss all of this in an overview form of a manner. When we discuss inflation, there are two types of inflation. One is your CPI, one is your WPI, consumer price inflation and index, sorry, and wholesale price index. What's relevant for us is the consumer price index, is what you consumers pay for something, and if the consumer price index increases, that means inflation is rising, correct? And to control this consumer price index and inflation, RBI and the Monetary Policy Committee uses certain tools or measures to curb this inflation, to control this inflation, to regulate this inflation. What is the ideal inflation rate for an economy to function healthily? The RBI and the government says that it should ideally be 4% with a variation of plus minus 2. So it can be in the range of 2 to 6%. If it goes beyond 6%, that's a problem. If it's less than 2%, that's also a problem. So ideal is 4 with plus minus 2 for the economy to grow in a healthy way, right? Now it's whose responsibility to control inflation? One is obviously the government, and second is the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, correct? Now, when you talk of RBI and government, they have to work in sync when it comes to regulating inflation and regulating prices of things. And for that purpose, they form a monetary policy committee. Now, what is this monetary policy committee and what does it comprise of? Let's see that. Monetary Policy Committee, or in short MPC, has 6 members. 3 are from RBI and 3 are representatives from the government. Okay, and this is presided by whom? Who heads the Monetary Policy Committee? Tell me in the chat box if you know. The Monetary Policy Committee. RBI governor, absolutely. Who's the RBI governor? नाम भी बता दो chat box में. RBI governor is the head. So for example, agar 3 people vote for something, 3 people vote for against something, then the final vote, the final say would be by the RBI governor. Else they'll decide by majority. 4 is to 2 say that inflation should be increased or repo rate should be increased. Then they do that with majority. Who's the RBI governor? Shaktikanta Das. Absolutely correct. Good job. Now, coming back to our concepts of repo rate and reverse repo rate, as many of you rightly mentioned in the chat box, repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. Now, banks further lend this money to you, to people who are the consumers or customers of the bank. So, hypothetically, if the repo rate is increased, that means if RBI is lending 100 rupees to, let's say, HDFC Bank, HDFC Bank would have to pay back how much? 106 rupees when it pays it back, if it's 6% repo rate. Now, if the repo rate increases to 7%, HDFC would have to pay back 107 rupees. Now, the implication, how does it work with the normal consumer is, if the bank is getting loan at a higher interest rate, it would obviously charge a higher interest rate from you. So, for example, you're going to purchase a house using a home loan. And previously, when repo rate was 6%, you were getting a home loan from HDFC at 10%, hypothetically. Now, when the HDFC Bank is taking loan at, let's say, 7% from RBI, the repo rate has increased by 1%. It would also translate into your loans. Let's say your loan becomes 12%. So that increase in your interest rate loan would deter a lot of people from taking that home loan, from putting money into the market, from purchasing things. It could be anything. It could be car loan, it could be home loan, it could be education loan, it could be anything. But people are lending less. So if people lend less, people would spend more, spend less. If people would spend less, there would be less demand. If there would be less demand, prices would come down and inflation would be controlled. Less money in the market, less demand in the market, obviously inflation would be cut down. Simple. Because so this is how loans are connected to your inflation. Reverse goes with reverse repo rate. What happens if you increase reverse repo rate? Does inflation reduce or increase? With an increase in reverse repo rate, inflation would increase or decrease? Yes, decrease. No, Mishka, not increase. It would decrease. Just like repo rate. When you increase repo rate, inflation decreases. When you increase reverse repo rate, then also inflation decreases. How? Because let's say, what is reverse repo rate? Reverse repo rate is the money at which RBI borrows from commercial banks, right? So again, coming back to the same example, if HDFC Bank is giving 100 rupees to RBI at 6% reverse repo rate, now uh, 6 rupees is the interest which HDFC Bank is getting. Okay. And RBI is a very secure, let's say, way to park your money. If you have a very secure way of parking your money at 6%, and then you have an unsecured loan of, let's say, a consumer loan or a personal loan at 10% with a person who does not have a, let's say, good credit history or whatever. In any case, a loan with RBI or money being deposited with RBI is anyway more secure for banks to earn money rather than putting it out as loans which have no security. They can become NPAs, non performing assets as well. So, what happens is when RBI incentivizes by increasing reverse repo rate, that means RBI would pay more interest on that 100 rupees borrowed. Reverse repo rate मतलब अगर मान लो 6% से उसको 7% कर दिया, that means HDFC would bank would now get 7 rupees at interest. So they would park more and more money with RBI because they would get more and more interest. And if they park more money with RBI, less money would be available for loans, less money would be available to general consumers and public. And again, less loans, less spending, less spending, less demand, less prices. Got it? Is that clear, everyone? Give me a clear in the chat box if both of these concepts are clear. Repo rate and reverse repo rate. Please, responses clear? Perfect. All right. So there are two more things, two more tools which are used to cut down inflation, which are SLR and CRR. SLR is your statutory liquidity ratio. This is a certain, let's say, in very layman terms, a certain amount of money, a certain sum of money, which the banks have to keep with themselves, which they cannot disperse as loans or which they cannot use for commercial purposes to, maintain a, let's say, healthy functioning of the bank. And if in extreme scenarios or in emergencies the bank faces a lot of NPAs or the bank goes into trouble, this SLR, this deposited money, this fixed deposit can save them from going into liquidation or from going into insolvency. ठीक है. तो बेसिकली एक तरीके से बैंक की गुल्लक है ये. ठीक है. बैंक ने गुल्लक में इतने पैसे डाल के रख दिए कि भाई इमरजेंसी आएगी, जब बैंड बच जाएगी हमारी तो हम ये वाले पैसे से बच जाएंगे, हम हमारा दिवालिया नहीं निकल जाएगा. ठीक है. तो दिस इज SLR इज व्हाट द मनी व्हिच बैंक कीप्स विद इटसेल्फ, and your CRR is the money which these banks keep with RBI. So RBI mandates that you have to keep a certain amount of money with the Reserve Bank of India. Every bank has to keep that. And again, how they are correlated with liquidity. The more money you are asked by RBI to keep as SLR or CRR, इसका मतलब मान लो पहले आरबीआई कहता था कि आपको 100 करोड़ रुपए रखने हैं एज एसएलआर एंड 100 करोड़ एज सीआरआर। अब आरबीआई ने एसएलआर और सीआरआर बढ़ा दिया। अब आरबीआई ने बोला आपको 200 करोड़ एसएलआर रखना है, 200 करोड़ सीआरआर रखना है। तो ऑब्वियसली बैंक के पास 100 करोड़ कम हो गए, 100 करोड़ मार्केट में कम गए एज लोन्स, एंड मार्केट में कम लिक्विडिटी हो गई। सेम लॉजिक। Okay, so this is how by increasing repo rate, by increasing reverse repo rate, by increasing SLR, by increasing CRR, inflation can be reduced, inflation can be decreased. So all of these are inversely proportional with your inflation. I hope that is clear. There are other ways as well. Other ways of cutting down on inflation and prices could be increasing taxation. अगर आप 100 रुपए कमा रहे हो और उसमें 30% टैक्स लग जाए तो आपके पास सिर्फ 70 रुपीज बचेंगे स्पेंड करने। अगर टैक्स बढ़ा के 40% कर दिया तो यू हैव जस्ट 60 रुपीज लेफ्ट टू स्पेंड। सो अगेन लिक्विडिटी इज रिड्यूस्ड, डिमांड इज रिड्यूस्ड, prices cut down. Another thing which the government does is reducing its expenditure. So government also puts out money in the market by spending on infrastructure, by spending on projects. So if the government reduces its expenditure, then also the flow of money in the market reduces, and again demand reduces, prices reduce. So this is the whole story behind how these monetary tools and these measures are used to cut down on inflation. And the news which we are looking at is RBI has kept the repo rate unchanged at 6.5% for the ninth consecutive time. This is the recommendation of the Monetary Policy Committee. 4 out of 6 people voted in the favor of this decision. So, and 2 people voted against. And I told you who's the governor. I told you he has a presiding vote. I told you about Monetary Policy Committee. It has 6 members. Also, Monetary Policy Committee is what kind of a body? Is it a constitutional body, a statutory body? The MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee. Can the RBI verify whether the SLR is being maintained by the commercial banks? Yes, absolutely it can. RBI has regulations in place. RBI constantly keeps a check on these banks. RBI often goes for inspections to these banks. So everything goes pretty smoothly. It's a statutory body. Established by which statute? The RBI Act of 1934 was amended through the Finance Act of 2016, which constituted this particular body. Okay. So you have to remember the RBI Act, which came in 1934, and the amendment to the RBI Act came through the Finance Act of 2016 to form the Monetary Policy Committee. Monetary Policy Committee के जो members होते हैं उनका term कितने years का होता है? What is the term of the MPC members? And which article of the RBI Act talks about the formation of an MPC, Monetary Policy Committee? No, it's not 3 years, it's 4 years. They have a term of 4 years. Yes. And what was the second question which I asked you? That what is the section? Which section of the RBI Act talks about formation of a monetary policy committee? Is the recent finance bill important? Yes, an overview is important. Name of the section. Section 45. You are partly correct. The accurate number would be section 45ZB. So because this is an amendment, this was added later. So it's section 45ZB of the RBI Act. Yeah. All right. So I think we have discussed most things which are required to understand. Rest all are numbers and statistics which you don't need to remember that keenly. 45ZB is the correct answer. Absolutely correct. And there's another provision in place which says that the Monetary Policy Committee has to meet at least 4 times in a year. So 4 meetings are compulsory. Beyond that, they can have any number of meetings, but they have to convene for at least 4 times in 1 year. Okay, see, these are few things regarding the MPC which you have to remember. All right, let's move to our next topic of the day, which is just transition litigation. Okay, let's understand the background and backdrop to understand the context of this article. This is thoda sa complicated to understand, but if you read it a couple of times, you'll get what the article is trying to say. The article is related to a case which we have already discussed, which was called the Great Indian Bustard case. Can anyone tell me the name of the case, the actual name of the judgment? Not exactly judgment because judgment has not been finalized yet, but the name of the case. What is the name of the Great Indian Bustard case? It's the question. Mishika has given me the right answer. M.K. Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India. Correct. It's written in the article as well. सबसे पहली लाइन यही है, एम के रंजीत सिंह एंड अदर्स वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया. And this is also popularly called as the Great Indian Bustard case. Now, Great Indian Bustard is an animal, is a bird which is found in the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat primarily, and it's a critically endangered species. Now, the issue at hand was that these Great Indian Bustards were being electrocuted or were dying because of solar panels and high tension wires in that area. And they went to court saying that Great Indian Bustard should be protected. It's critically endangered. You have to remove the solar panels and all. Now, on the other hand, the government put forth the argument that we cannot really do away with the solar panels and all of this setup because it is important for our sustainable development goals, for our clean energy commitments, for our net zero emission commitments, for our international obligations, for moving towards clean energy, blah, 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 which we have already discussed. So the government said that okay, the Supreme Court said that okay, fair enough, that state citizens also have a fundamental right against climate change. So this is an important judgment for your CLAT and elite perspective because this introduced a new concept, which is your fundamental right against climate change, against adverse impact of climate change, to be precise. And now there is a conflict between development and environment. We have discussed this as an issue multiple times, and the conclusion is we have to do development in a sustainable manner. This article also emphasizes on the same thing, that your climate change actions should be inclusive and equitable in nature. They should not adversely impact the biodiversity also. So they're like, we're all in for climate action and climate change, but you need to protect the biodiversity as well. You have to save the Great Indian Bustard as well. So the judgment is due yet. Let's see what the judgment says. And whatever the judgment is, it's going to open a lot of interpretations, a Pandora box of issues. And again, it's a conflict between development and sustainable development and your environment protection, which has been a debate ongoing for years now. What this article or what this editorial is putting forward is this transition. What transition to clean energy, transition to green energy should be justified, should be just in nature. Just transition litigation is what she's proposing. So the move to clean energy should be justified without harming other vulnerable groups or endangered species, or let's say people who are at the risk of losing their livelihood if things are rapidly transformed. For example, if someone is reliant on working in a thermal power plant, and you say that now thermal power plants would close down and now we would operate on hydroelectricity or wind energy or solar energy, that person would lose his job and that area would become unemployed. People who work in that area would become unemployed. So there are multiple dimensions to it, multiple aspects to it. Another aspect is protecting your species. If you say that we are putting a large solar panel grid in this particular area, and that area is somewhere where a species, an endangered species is found, then again it's a problem. So you need to take responsibility of being very inclusive, being very protective of your environment while working towards climate change. Now, this also becomes a tricky issue because we do not have a unified law on climate change in India. So there's no enforcement mechanism with respect to climate change and how it is adversely impacting. So both sides of the argument have to be balanced in nature. That is what basically the article is saying in a lot of paragraphs. Okay, the gist is balance out and move through a justified transition towards clean energy. Okay, let's take an overview of the newspaper. Okay, let's discuss this news right from the newspaper only. Today's Hindu newspaper. So Muhammad Yunus led Bangladesh interim government has been sworn. The president of Bangladesh, Muhammad Shahabuddin, has administered oath to the 84-year-old Nobel laureate as chief advisor of the government 3 days after Hasina resigned as PM. 13 out of 16 advisors also to take oath. ठीक है. So ये आपके मोहम्मद यूनुस जो आ गए हैं ढाका में. मोदी अर्जेस यूनुस टू इंश्योर सेफ्टी ऑफ माइनॉरिटीज. तो मोदी जी ने कहा है कि भाई माइनॉरिटीज की सेफ्टी का आपको ध्यान रखना है बिकॉज if you guys have been following news, a lot of minorities are being targeted and persecuted in the wake of this violence. Religious minorities, ethnic minorities, tribal minorities are being targeted and killed with brutality in the scenario of violence. Former Bengal CM Buddhadev Bhattacharjee dies. RBI holds repo rate at 6.5%. ये हमने कर लिया cover. Then we have Vinesh Fogart announces retirement. This we already discussed. Let's hope she gets a silver in today's appeal. Neeraj Chopra we discussed. Union government amends CAA guidelines on documents to prove foreign origin. Now this is a topic of political nature as well as legal nature. We can discuss it when there are more developments and consolidation with this regard. But for now, you can maybe read up on this particular article. Then we have city news, state news. Let's quickly skip this. So we did this article, a moment for just transition litigation to take weight. In M.K. Ranjit Singh, Human Right Against Adverse Impacts of Climate Change, decision has attracted significant discourse, riddled with mixed reactions. For some, it has been a win for climate action. For others, it has failed to protect endangered biodiversity. Taking a relatively pragmatic position, pragmatic means wise position, in an earlier opinion page article in this daily, Great Indian Bustard and Climate Action Verdict. This writer mapped a course for the court to adopt in its final decision, which is framing the core issues. Okay, just transition is not a new concept. Introduction to climate change. It's recent. Okay, okay, okay. Then you're talking about the Paris Agreement and international obligations, advantages of a just transition framing. Okay. We're talking about court's decision to juxtapose decarbonization and biodiversity protection. Juxtapose is essentially overlap. Interestingly, it recognizes that two do not exist in disjunctive silos. Disjunctive silos essentially means they have separate identities. They are not disjunctive, they are conjunctive. Okay. And that one cannot be prioritized at the cost of another. We discussed this. Okay. Okay. Pretty much the same thing. Anti-energy transition, anti-climate transition, affected communities. We discussed this. Right. More or less the same thing is written. Paraphrase कर करके. So इधर है Vinesh Fogart went to extraordinary lengths to win a medal. Discuss this. She did everything, drew out blood, cut her hair, everything they did to qualify that weight limit. Guilty answers, antitrust case were verdict against Google. Okay, we'll discuss this when it happens. Change in Bangladesh, challenges for India. We have discussed this. Widening Olympic quest. So this means India is now participating in a lot of other sports as well. Our quest is widening. Our participation in different sports is increasing. Sports which did not record any participation in the last 7 editions. So in sports, we haven't sent any athlete yet. Haven't been able to send. Monetary policy and financial markets. Discuss the gist of it. How inflation and central banks and commercial banks work in sync with each other. Make sure you give it a good glance. Why Himalayan towns need a different kind of development. We have discussed this many times. How it's an ecologically sensitive zone. Everything related to that. The comeback of epic movies. Okay, skip this. PM urges units to ensure protection of minorities. Got it. Okay. This we have to discuss yet. Waqf bill goes to JPC after an acrimonious debate in Lok Sabha. Acrimonious is basically a heated and venomous, very poisonous sort of a thing. Very heated debate. Opposition calls the draft legislation draconian. Draconian is very evil and an attack on the constitution. Minority Affairs Minister says Modi government aims to bring in reforms to give justice to ordinary Muslims as Waqf board have been captured by a handful of people. So we'll do this issue in detail in future. Upset at opposition's conduct, Dhankar walks out of house. No clinical trial for drugs approved in select nations. Okay. Ask GST Council to take a call on tax on health insurance premiums. Under construction bridge collapses in Bihar. 14th failure since June. RBI can't ignore food inflation. This is an important topic. Make sure you read it. Food inflation with a weight of 46% in the CPI, Consumer Price Index basket, contributed to more than 75% of headline inflation in May June, while vegetable prices increased sharply and contributed 35% to headline price gains. Can pay 5 lakh in taxes via UPI soon. Will compile digital lending apps guide. So this is all related to economics. Hasina will be back in Dhaka once democracy is restored, says her son. Let's see. Israel revokes status of Norway envoys to Palestine. All right. Starmer says no let up and moves to stop far right riots. Russia battles Ukrainian troops for third day after major incursion in the Kursk region. So there's nothing we have to discuss in detail which is left. We discussed sports, we discussed Bangladesh interim government, we discussed the inflation thingy. I think that's all for today, guys. Let's do our vocabulary quickly. First word for the day is erudition, the quality of having or showing great knowledge or learning, scholarship. Synonyms are learning, scholarship, knowledge. Antonyms are ignorance, illiteracy, or illiterateness. So, erudition. His erudition was apparently endless. Quality of having, showing great knowledge. Okay. Next is asseveration. Asseveration means the solemn or emphatic declaration or statement of something. Okay. Affirmation, assertion, avouchment. Antonyms are disavowal, contradiction, denial. You can forget the asseveration of past, but want to remember own of sincerely. ये कैसा sentence हुआ? There's some गड़बड़ in this sentence. Okay, let's skip this sentence. You guys tell me. Make a sentence with this word, asseveration. The solemn or emphatic declaration or statement of something. A sentence with this word in the chat box quickly. Third word for the day is commensurate. Commensurate simply means corresponding in size or degree in proportion. Okay? 6 yards is commensurate with 18 feet in proportion. So I could say that you should only take that much food in your plate which is commensurate with your diet. Equivalent, equal, corresponding antonyms are disproportionate. Okay, commensurate, asseveration, and erudition. And that's a wrap for today's class. Thank you so much for attending, participating. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Oh, I think I did not share my tab while reading the vocab. Oops, my bad, my bad, my bad. My bad. फिर से करते हैं. Let's do a rerun. So okay, just a second. First word is erudition. The meaning is the quality of having or showing great knowledge or learning. Scholarship. Synonyms are learning, scholarship, knowledge. Antonyms are ignorance, illiteracy, illiterateness. Erudition. Sentences. His erudition was apparently endless. Okay. The second word is asseveration. It means the solemn or emphatic declaration or statement of something. ठीक है, बहुत जुनून से किसी चीज को declare करना is asseveration. Synonyms are affirmation, assertion, avouchment. Antonyms are disavowal, contradiction, and denial. And you guys need to make a sentence using this word in the chat box. Asseveration. Third word is commensurate. Commensurate is corresponding in size or degree or in proportion. Synonyms are equivalent, equal, corresponding. Antonyms are disproportionate. The sentence is 6 yards is commensurate with 18 feet. Okay. So now, time for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Can you please take a CR practice session, but it has passages that are legal in nature? Okay, can look at that, surely. Do we prepare about the UK riots right now or wait and prepare it later? Wait for it. Wait for a while. Let things settle down. Cover the reason and just do main immigration problems. Yeah, essentially. Considering Neeraj Chopra and Arshad Nadeem's case, we might infer that body mass is commensurate with javelin throw projection. Good one, good one. I like that. Good sentence. My erudition seems quite limited today, commensurate with that of a 3-year-old. Fantastic. What is the issue regarding Waqf board? इसको अलग से करते हैं कल discuss. I don't want to start this debate right now because we're wrapping up today's class. Let's do Waqf board tomorrow. आप लोग भी पढ़ के आओ थोड़ा वक्फ बोर्ड के बारे में. चलो ठीक है. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Make sure you don't have a lot of fun. Have fun while preparing, but don't deviate from the preparation. ठीक है. Keep learning, keep preparing, and I'll see you again on Monday now. So we'll meet on Monday with another Hindu analysis. And on Tuesday, we have a quiz. So make sure you prepare for that. Bye-bye. Take care. Tata. Signing off. Okay, I've read the sentences by Deeptakshi. Good sentence. As I read that, I saw a cat wearing sunglasses. Arman also made a sentence. Good sentence. Do we have Selexers class today? No, you don't have Selexers class today. You have the 8 p.m. class today. No 6 p.m. class today. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.